at the Movies with Tim Sika, everyone. Hi, Tim.
Hi, Kim. How are ya?
Hi, good. How are you?
Pretty good. Pretty
Good.
good. Yeah, listening to your all your you're talking there about those weird fish. I did do
I
an
know.
ew on that one that looked like it was gonna like rip your leg off.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I
The
know.
the
There's
the
some
second one
creepy
I
ones.
forgot the name. The one before the last one that you just showed. Ugh.
Oh, it's
Ew.
the goblin shark.
That no the other one. Wait, there's no the one no. That wasn't that one. Oh
Mm-hmm.
man. That
Imagine
looks
that
like
thing coming out of the depths for you,
Really, that looks like something out of somebody's nightmare. Ugh,
right?
yuck. Yeah.
Look at those weird teeth.
Yeah.
That could do
I
a lot of
know.
damage. What a creepy looking
Yeah.
fish.
Yeah.
Look what we share
Definitely.
the planet with. There you go.
Yeah.
Before we
Yeah.
jump into movies, I have to say thank you to Maud, who comes in with a $25 super sticker. Happiest days, Kim. I needed that today, Maud. Thank you so much for that nice super sticker and the nice words as well. Crowdfunded show, so we appreciate all of that. And you can find the PayPal link in the show description and in the About tab here on YouTube. So a reminder there. And thank you again. Oh, Tim.
Yeah.
Tim, Tim, you've got
We
some
gonna
good
get
movies.
we gonna get through all these puppies today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of movies.
I
Yeah.
do have a lot of good things. The first one you sent over is a movie called Slingshot.
Yes, Slingshot. This is it's a sci-fi psychological drama, right? It's
Okay.
about a trio of astronauts played by Oscar winner Casey Affleck, Lawrence Fishburne, and Tomer Capone, who plays Frenchie on Amazon Prime's The Boys. I don't know if you've ever seen The Boys. Have you ever seen The Boys?
No.
That's a different conversation, but yeah, well, check out The Boys sometimes if you're in for a really wild kind of series. Anyway, all these guys are on a mission to Titan, which is one of Saturn's 82 moons. And en route, they face this series of, I don't know, unexpected challenges, let's just say, that test their endurance and their sanity. The term slingshot refers to this mysterious gravitational anomaly that has the potential to sort of catapult spacecraft across vast distances at these incredible speeds, hence the film's
Mm,
title. And that plays a large part in what happens here in this story. So, and I don't want to give anything away, other only what I have to. And
okay.
this is an interesting movie with an interesting premise. It's also this love story which is really kind of cleverly integrated into the plot. Everything about this movie is really good. How it captures the sense of isolation, being, stuck in a contained space,
Sure.
millions of miles or billions of miles in outer space away from Earth. you know, Watching it, we really feel and we get this sense of the dread and the loneliness and ultimately the horror of the situation that these three astronauts have put themselves in. The direction is good. The craft of the movie is top notch. The problem with this movie, and which killed it for me,
Uh-oh.
was the ending, which made absolutely no sense of what came before. In other words, I suspect they struggled to come up with a satisfying conclusion. The ending raised more questions than it provided answers, and not in an artful, artistic way, like say in the same way that 2001 used ambiguity to evoke a kind of wonder in a mystery.
Hmm.
You just go, ooh, that's interesting kind of thing. This, you just throw up your hands. When this movie ended, I inwardly, because I saw it in a crowd, screamed and said, yeah, right. Okay, so now what? You mean to tell me that what we experienced never happened? In which case, it seemed pointless to have been put through this exercise, or if it did actually literally happen, who's going to take responsibility for the actions enacted on board? And what did this movie mean? It would have been better if they just ended it without showing us what we're being shown and told, and then told apparently happened, and what the motive for this outer space exploration was. I know that sounds convoluted and cryptic, but if I was any more detailed, I'd be
Yeah.
giving spoilers. So
Well,
the ending killed it for me, like no other movie ending in recent movie killed it for me, and ruined what was otherwise a very good movie.
don't these scripts, I mean, aren't don't you have the ending before you decide to make the movie?
Well, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. It's really interesting because I couldn't find any information about this movie online after I had seen it. I did find one article that implied to me that because Tom Holland was originally attached to this movie,
Oh.
but the summary that they gave at this time, I think it was like 2 years ago, was almost of a different movie entirely. So obviously the script went through a lot of changes
Hmm.
between the time they agreed to do it and the time they actually filmed it. Two writers are credited too, which makes me think that one writer wrote this original story and then this other writer came in to polish it. But really, really, this movie makes no sense at the end. The ending kills it. It kills it. That's my takeaway anyway. So
What a
uh,
bummer. I wonder what the original ending was with the
I
first
don't
writer. Don't
know.
you? You're like,
Yeah, I don't.
what's the real story?
Well, and it's funny because as you're watching it, you're wondering, well, where's this going to go?
Yeah.
But the way it finally went, no, no, next.
What a
Yeah,
bummer.
yeah.
To spend
So
all that movie and expend all that energy to only just tank it at the last moment.
yeah, because
Yeah.
everything else about it is really good, especially
Yeah.
the cast. It's an excellent cast.
It
Everybody's
looks like
good.
it.
Yeah. So, and the trailer for this movie is
Yeah.
very good. It makes you
Uh,
want to go see the movie, but hey, just be forewarned. And if anybody listening happens to see it between now and next week, oh boy, I would appreciate an explanation if they could come up with one. I couldn't.
let's go to this one. It's City of Dreams.
Yes, inspired by a true story. If you really think about it, Kim, that is such a meaningless tag because everything ever written, I think, I suppose, in some way and on some level, is inspired by a true story. But anyway,
Sure.
City of Dreams is this drama chronicling the journey of this mute Mexican boy who has these dreams of becoming a soccer star. But all that is upended, shall we say,
Wait,
when
did you say he's mute?
he's mute. Yeah,
Oh
he doesn't
wow.
speak. Yeah,
Okay.
that's something that they never really explain. You just assume he just doesn't talk, or maybe he does. He just doesn't understand the language. No, no, he does. No, he never talks. That's right. He never talks,
Wow.
so he's
Okay.
mute, right?
Uh-huh.
And anyway, he has these dreams of becoming a soccer star, so he's sort of duped into coming into this country. Basically, he's smuggled across the border and sold to a hell on earth sweatshop in downtown LA. Now, my gut going into this movie was telling me, you really don't want to see this. You really don't need to see this. And not because of its subject matter, which is subject matter everybody I think should be aware of, how this exploitation and abuse of children for
Yeah.
corporate profit and the exposing of the horrors of child trafficking. But the fact that former Republican presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy's name was attached to it, I'm just saying, I don't know exactly yet what I'm going to say about that, but I'm also just saying that I hated this movie. And for the simple reason that instead of providing this kind of thought provoking and unvarnished and realistic look into what is really a form of modern slavery of immigrants in America that goes on daily, really, and is going on right now, even as we speak. But instead, we get this exploitive, cheap jack, unexamined, lurid horror show, which is packaged as entertainment. And I found that appalling. It's as though the filmmakers took a compelling subject and cheapened it by presenting it as a kind of torture porn. It was just awful. It leaves you feeling like you need a shower and angry that you even supported the film by watching it in the first place. I never like to tell people what they should or should not see, but my advice to anybody even thinking about seeing this movie, don't even buy a ticket. If you decide to see it, which is your prerogative, don't say I didn't warn you. And Kim, the other thing I am going to say this that I couldn't get out of my head while watching this is that Vivek Ramaswamy, who I don't know as a person, so no judgment here, but I will say that his behavior, distinct from his humanity, I find reprehensible as a human being and as a presidential candidate. It goes beyond the pall. He's on record saying that corporations should be able to do whatever the hell they want to do in order to maximize their profits. Well, then, what's his name doing attached to this movie? Is he sanctioning this
Mhm.
practice? What the hell is going on?
Mhm.
You know, I think he's saying, buy a ticket so that I can get some kind of kickback. Although that's
Mm.
just, I can't document that. I don't know. There's something very sleazy about this movie. I found it appalling, awful garbage. And next time, I'm just going to make sure I'm going to go with my gut. Something
Yep.
about this
Skip
movie.
it. Yeah.
I just, even when I read about it, I thought, and then later I found out he was attached to it. So there's just something unspoken and weird about what's going on back of this movie. And it plays, like I said, it plays like torture porn. Oh, it was awful.
If you have
Awful.
to have this stuff now living in your brain, because once you see it, you can't unsee it, right? So
Right.
if you have to have that living inside,
Yeah.
at least let it be for a
Yeah. A
reason that's
reason.
worthwhile,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. It really just leaves you bereft and you're
Yeah.
going, yeah. So, yeah. Ugh, yuck. Yuck, yuck,
Mm-mm.
yuck.
It's a
No.
no-go. All right.
Yeah. Uh-uh.
Let's talk about 1992.
Yeah, this is a mixed bag. This next one, 1992. It's for all intents and purposes a heist drama. It's a genre exercise, and it's set against the backdrop of the first night of the 1992 Los Angeles riots, April 29th, 1992 LA riots, which were a result of the Rodney King verdict,
Right.
where the four white police officers who practically beat this guy to death were acquitted. And the plot involves, well, first of all, the film stars Tyrese Gibson, very good here, Scott Eastwood and Ray Liotta in one of his last roles. In fact, the film is dedicated to him. And there's two plot threads going on here. The Tyrese Gibson character, he's 6 months out of prison, living with his teenage son in a very modest apartment in LA. And there are all these father-son issues at play. Out of prison dad is trying to deal with his angry son, thinking, my God, this is me when I was his age, and he's going to wind up in prison. Yet his anger is justified for a number of reasons anyway. And that whole thing serves as this like contrast counterpoint with another father-son element. Scott Eastwood, son, and Ray Liotta, father, are dealing with their own issues while trying to plan and execute this platinum heist where they think they're going to become multimillionaires. So yeah, a mixed bag. The film's heart is in the right place in that it's a
Mhm.
serious attempt to presence this drama and unfolding of all this personal family stuff concurrently happening between a black father and his son with a white father and his son. There's a contemporary resonance and relevance here in that the African Americans in this film are treated with suspect and sketch that the white Americans are not.
Mhm.
You watch this movie and you go, God, not much has changed seemingly regarding the
Mhm.
LAPD and the black community. The movie's entertaining and intense, but again, yeah, I'm complaining a lot about the ends of things. The
Mhm.
last act is so obvious and way too eager to connect all the dots, which it didn't need to do, that it resorts to all this hackneyed dialogue, very on the nose acting, which consists of all these histrionics and reliance on some extreme genre tropes, that it's almost laughable when it's supposed to be coming together, and then you're going, God, this seems ridiculous. And it just pulls you out of what is otherwise a pretty decent heist picture. So it's a mixed bag. It's worth seeing if you can overlook the obviousness and the clunk of the third act.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
So,
too bad because it sounds
yeah,
like an interesting premise.
it
So,
is. It is. Well, and
yeah,
there's a lot of good in the movie, but
yeah.
yeah, it's like I
Mm.
said, it's a mixed bag. Yeah.
The next one is a movie called You Gotta Believe.
Yeah. On a much lighter note, this is another actual family movie. I want to go in the spirit of my penguin friend, only it's a story not about animals, but about Little League Baseball. And it's based on a true story, one which apparently got some traction on the ESPN sports cable channel back in, I think it was 2002. And that story is of the West Side All Stars, the first Fort Worth, Texas youth baseball team to make it to the 2002 Little League World Series in something like 40 years.
Okay.
And in this movie iteration of that true story, I'm sure they've taken liberties. But the team is initially depicted as a very average youth sports team, lacking ambitions of greater glory or notoriety. But when a player's father, played by Luke Wilson, who's in the poster there, is stricken by this advanced form of melanoma cancer.
Oh no.
Yeah, I know. You can see what's coming. The team sort of mines that tragedy for the motivation they need to take their gameplay up a notch, so to speak, and at the same time themselves more seriously than they were taking themselves in the past. So what else? Greg Kinnear co-stars. He's in the poster too as the team's coach, and he's best pal to dying Luke Wilson, and who's also a lawyer who's bored and he's sort of tired of his real job and he's looking for meaning in his life, and he finds it in helping this team to win and lend his dying pal some dignity before he shuffles off his mortal coil. And there's lots I can criticize this movie for. It tries to take on a lot of stuff. For one, like it doesn't matter if you win or lose, but how you play the game. Don't take life too seriously because you're never going to get out of it alive. All that stuff, the importance of family and communal support and responsibility. It attempts to take on grief and loss. The best thing about it is how it portrays the middle-aged friendship between the Greg Kinnear character and the Luke Wilson character. That was, to me, the most touching. I mean, the most genuinely touching, without me feeling like I was being manipulated. There's the big inspirational Hoosiers-like musical score. It's kind of like a benign, less profane Bad News Bears, this movie, but with more to say about the life experience. I think the worst things that players say to each other, they say things like "eat my chimichanga" and "you're a pinhead," or "if Mr. Rogers lived in your neighborhood, I bet he'd move." Stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's emotional. The filmmakers are aware that all of the screens goings on have significant sugar coma potential, but there are touches here and there that make you think that they're trying to fight against that. Bottom line, it's an innocuous and family-friendly movie. It's ideal for young boys and a made-to-order movie for little leaguers everywhere. So,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, yeah, good movie. I recommend it. I
Okay.
recommend it. Yeah.
All right. This one, I'm fascinated by the concept. It's called Afraid.
Afraid, yeah. The trailer for this movie is playing everywhere. I generally don't watch trailers, but I haven't been able to avoid this one. It just keeps popping up everywhere. So they're really, putting the screws to the marketing on this one. But this is an AI warning thriller / semi-horror movie. And we thought Suri was bad. Oh boy, look out for Aya in this movie, which in the movie is this smart home AI device that's being tested in this family home of this guy named Curtis, aka Dad. He's played by John Cho, and his wife and 3 kids. And no spoiler here because this is all in the trailer. Aya starts to develop her own self-awareness. So just fill in the blanks. So, yeah,
she's stationary, right? Or is she connected to everything in the household?
She's connected to everything in the house.
Okay. All right.
And so anyway, this is a pretty simple, straightforward, relatively short at 80 plus minutes, direct Spartan style, economically produced thriller about the dangers of AI. And they make no qualms about like, hey, we're making this to warn you in case you've been asleep for the last 10 years. It's sort of akin to what used to be made and called a direct-to-video movie, only it's of a slightly higher quality. John Cho is in it. He lends it some gravitas. He's always great. I love this guy. He's just a really interesting actor to watch. And a movie whose message is pretty no frills. Well, this was my takeaway anyway, whose message is, as if we already don't know, or those of us unfamiliar with the Center for Humane Technology don't already know, that technological change is proceeding at this exponential rate, and that AI is now here. We've opened up this Pandora's box and there's no going back, and that if we don't use AI wisely, embrace it and respect it, it's going to do a number on us. So that's pretty much all I really can say about the movie. That's Afraid. It's aptly titled, and it's a fairly okay movie. It's very obvious. It's
Hmm.
very on the nose. You kind of know within the first 5 minutes where this movie's going to go, but it's well made. Like I said, it's economically produced. Yet at no expense to the look of the movie. It still looks kind of polished, but it's very clear they probably didn't spend. It's a Blumhouse movie, and Blumhouse knows how to produce movies at a very low cost that make a lot of money.
Oh,
So yeah, and it's a contemporary, thriller, and some of the it's interesting because some of the things that happen in the movie I've experienced indirectly with AI in my own life.
what?
Only I would laugh it off. This
Yeah,
movie takes that stuff seriously, and it does so in a really kind of
that
clever way.
just gave
So
me the shiver
yeah,
chills.
there you
Ew.
go. There you go. That yeah, that's
Wow.
yeah. So
So, are you recommending this
I
one?
am. I am recommending
Okay.
it. Yeah. Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh,
Afraid.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh gosh.
Did you see B.A. Ware's comment? He says this movie might drive me to an off-grid hermitage.
Yeah. 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 Really. Yes. Uh-huh. Yeah. I
Yeah.
thought of that too. I thought, man,
Mhm.
I either got to use the social media or the whole internet less, or do something extreme like that. Get off the grid completely. Oh, whew.
Cool.
Yeah. Cool.
So let's go to this movie. This is Blake Edwards, A Love Story in 24 Frames.
Yeah, this is a PBS documentary, which is streaming now on all different kinds of platforms for free, actually. It's about the film career of the late screenwriter, film director Blake Edwards, who's probably most famous for the Pink Panther movies
Mhm.
and films like The Great Race and The Party and Days of Wine and Roses and Breakfast at Tiffany's. He had a wide palette. He made dramas, he made comedies. He's famous for the comedies, and he's even made a couple of musicals. But it's also notable for the work he's collaborated on with his wife, superstar Julie Andrews, with whom he's made some 7 movies. The most
Oh.
popular and probably the best being the musical Victor Victoria, which was later controversially staged on Broadway and which ruined the singing voice of his wife, Julie Andrews. But
Mm.
that's another subject. But and Andrews more or less hosts this movie, and really what this film is, bottom line, it's a very loving tribute and a gift to her late husband, Blake Edwards, by Julie Andrews. Blake's 2 children, actress and filmmaker Jennifer and Jeffrey, respectively, and others, filmmakers Ryan Johnson, Paul Feig, who directed what was that Melissa McCarthy movie? That crazy Melissa McCarthy movie.
They're all a little crazy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Anyway, the first one, the one that was really gross and disgusting but hilarious, and choreographer Rob Marshall.
Bridesmaids.
Bridesmaids, that's it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And also choreographer Rob Marshall is in this, who worked with her on Victor Victoria, and it's a celebration of Blake Edwards' life and his life's work, and his marriage of 43 years to Julie Andrews. People thought, what an odd pairing, but they stayed together for 40 plus decades.
Wow.
And it also goes into the work that they've done together on screen in perhaps lesser known movies. Andrews, of course, will be eternally etched in the minds of moviegoers for her iconic screen performances as Mary Poppins and Maria von Trapp in The Sound of Music.
Hmm.
I have some personal quibbles about this movie, which only really matter to me, which I won't go into now. But I do think that folks who are perhaps maybe less familiar with the work of Blake Edwards and Julie Andrews, not only his solo work as a filmmaker, but their work together, will find this movie informative and insightful.
Right.
And let's just say that I will say this: the very best part of this movie is the final words that come out of the mouth of Julie Andrews about her husband, which will leave no dry eye
Oh.
to those who see this movie. It's a very loving and affectionate tribute by those people who love the man, which perhaps will also set the record straight regarding his inestimable contribution to the film industry. So it's a love letter to Blake Edwards. And I'm going to say this because this isn't really giving anything away. It's something for people to look forward to. At the end, Julie Andrews recites this poem that she wrote for him, at a stage in their relationship, and it is oh God, I'm tearing up now just talking about it. Anyway, I
You recommend
recommend the
it?
film. I
Yeah.
recommend it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's streaming on a number of platforms, so I recommend people just Google the movie, and they'll tell you. I think you could just go on the
Yeah.
PBS website now and
I
watch it.
don't
Yeah,
know a lot about him, so I would watch this because I'm not aware of, her relationship with him or what
yeah.
he's done. So let's recap.
Okay.
Slingshot, the first one, you said it's an interesting movie. It was good, but the nonsensical ending really killed it for you.
Yeah.
It just, you walked away shaking your head thinking, what a waste of my time.
Yeah.
Now,
Right. Yeah.
the
No, forget
next
it.
one is City of Dreams, and you hated this movie. Hated
Yeah.
it. You
Hated
said
it. Yeah.
instead of a real look at trafficking, which they had the chance to do here, it's packaged as entertainment, which really kind of ooged you out. You do
Mhm.
not recommend this movie, and you called it appalling.
Yeah.
1992, you said you gotta give this one a mixed reaction. You said it's entertaining, but the last act is really trying too hard.
Yeah.
So I don't know. You
Yeah.
gotta believe, you said it's a family movie. It's emotional. There's a lot going on with this movie, but you recommend it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Afraid, all about the AI in your house.
Ah,
You said it's an okay movie. Uh it's pretty obvious, which I think is why you weren't like gung ho on it, but you said you do recommend it. Yeah. So there you
yeah.
go.
Yeah.
And last, oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, imagine if you asked Suri to do something, like play, I don't know, play some Whitney Houston for me, Suri.
Sure.
And she said, I don't think I want to do that.
Okay. What do you want to do now that you have
Yeah.
a mind of your own?
Yeah.
Re.
Ring.
Blake Edwards, a love story in 24 frames. You called it informative, a loving tribute, a love letter. You recommend this one as well.
I sure do. So I
Look at
think that's more
you.
more I'm recommending than not, I think, this week. I don't know.
Okay.
I haven't been keeping count. So
Yeah, the first two were no goes, and then the two, three, four, five. You said yes. You brought us a lot of stuff to consider today.
yeah, too much.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah,
No,
too
not too
much.
much. I'll take it all. This is good.
Okay, all right.
I love it when you swing by the show, Tim Sika. I hope you have a really good holiday weekend.
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
Labor
I
Day on
forgot.
Monday.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot it's a holiday weekend. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
So have a nice long one full of lots of movies.
You too. And
Thank you.
yeah, we'll talk to you next week, Kim.
Sounds good.
All
At the
right.
movies with
All
Tim
right.
Sika. Bye bye.